Year?
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact.
Year?
You can thank the master. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it goes strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with how it plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Arrogant shots on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Picking the players, they all never time. You can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasizing inside your cloud. Gabby Williams said, watch your mouth. They 1 and they 2, I played the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them in, we cashing them. Let's fucking go, we about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact.
Year?
You can thank the master. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
You watching Contact.
Let's get hunting.
You can thank the master. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks.
All right, let's go, crew. We are live Thursday, July 7th. Today, sadly, is the last WNBA slate before All-Star break weekend. So we won't get any WNBA action till Tuesday after tonight. So hopefully we can finish strong here. The crew had a really strong night last night. I saw a lot of green, a lot of solid screenshots. How'd it go for you last night, Eric?
Yeah, it was pretty good, man. I had a lot of no 10x, but a ton of 2x, so can't complain about that. Still ended in plus profit, and I believe one of the 2 cards that I posted for the crew, if they followed, we had a profit there. One went 3 for 5, and the other was 4 for 5.
Nice. Yeah, I think one of our team stream cards pretty much all hit. Maybe one of them just had one miss on the 5 flex, but can't remember entirely. But I know, yeah, I think our top 10 ranking list that we posted for the crew, for everyone in Discord, went like 8 to 10. So really high hit rate. It's just, yeah, card construction was key last night.
Definitely.
And I think the same holds true today, because we were cooking it up all earlier today, and there's a lot of props that we like. So we're really gonna have to key in on the right props and right card construction. So hopefully we can do that and give ourselves enough time to focus on that after the stream. So we're gonna try to mine these props for you guys and give the best ranking that we can, because there's a lot of really good props in this 3-game slate. Any key news we want to cover before we dive right in?
Yeah, we definitely have quite a bit of injury news to look out for today. Sue Bird didn't travel with Seattle, so she's already ruled out for tonight. And Rebecca Allen's still being out, so we'll see when she's coming back. But the biggest thing is in the injury report, they updated for Egbo now being listed as doubtful, Lexi Hull doubtful, and Victoria Vivians is now questionable.
Oh, great. That's a midday tag, so
yeah. And so they left Vivian's props up. Just kind of be cautious with that. You know, she's been off and on with this injury, and she's played more recently, but that game, I believe, coming back from an injury or when she was listed as questionable, she got hurt and they pulled her early.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's gonna really change things for Indiana's side. I was already pretty hesitant on this game. I know these when these teams have played each other twice this season, they've been competitive games, and Indiana's played pretty well, surprisingly. Because Chicago's one of the top 2 teams in the league, and Indiana's probably the worst. But yeah, you see the first meeting, Chicago won 95-90, and then the second meeting, Indiana actually won at home 89-87. But Candace did not play that game, so take that with a grain of salt. Chicago is on a back-to-back. Something to think about. I wonder, speculated all day today, this could be a rest spot here for Candace on a back-to-back, being the vet that she is. However, it is All-Star break. They don't play again besides the All-Star game, and they get a nice 4 or 5 day break. Maybe they want to bounce back after that loss they took. And actually, I saw a stat this season, they have never dropped 2 games in a row. So they are 5-0 coming out of a loss. Really lining up here, especially with Indiana being shorthanded now, especially if Victoria's out and Queen's already out. It's really lining up for a bounce back spot here for Chicago. The only concern, like I said, is the back-to-back. With that said, what are your thoughts on Chicago? We'll start with the away team as always. Do you think Candace, okay, looks like she's probably going to play, but do you think there's a chance she has some weird rotation like we've seen in the past and she plays limited minutes?
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider in the back of your head here. She will be involved in the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that really being the biggest thing. If Indiana can keep it close, which they have, they could need her a little bit down the stretch, but I really just don't think that they're going to have to lean on her. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen not only Emma have really great success here in this matchup, but even Azura Stevens coming off the bench, she's played really well against them, and they could definitely make do. And I think honestly, with the style that Indiana's front court is going to be, especially if these other pieces are going to be ruled out tonight. We're going to be stepping into more of a small ball matchup here, and coach is going to be totally fine just letting Copper run the point and facilitate the offense. We've seen him do that before, especially around any kind of pending news. They are going to lean towards limiting her a little bit here, but she could play if must needed. I don't think that they will have to have her though.
I agree. Because we've all seen all season when Candace will kind of take a back seat and chill, and then when they need her, she'll step up, and especially late in the game.
Mhm.
Seen it pretty much every time. And yeah, if it's not competitive, she's definitely not going to take on that role. So I notice she tends to turn it on late in order to bring the team back, and that's when she starts to clear her props. So I think one maybe that stood out to me would be her assist. If you think that she's going to kind of let others get it done and just kind of take a 80% effort here against Indiana, the 5 assists would be the one that stood out to me for Candace today. And then I'll let you dive into one of the favorite props of the crew, Copper's 2 free throws, and why you like that target so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Candace, I agree with the assist prop there. She's been very passive in the first halves over definitely almost the entire season now. But if you wanted maybe to consider some of her other props, she could be a little bit more proactive in drawing some fouls. Um, Not a whole lot of confidence there. I wish they would have given us a Parker free throw prop. That would have
Yeah.
been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the assist for her, and Copper. She's just been on absolute fire lately, doing everything for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And in the previous 2 meetings, we saw that she went to the free throw line, I believe, 10 times in one, and then 7 in the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just outside of that matchup, in some of these less foul prone teams, she's just been going to the line. Like, it doesn't matter. She's drawing fouls, creating the shots for herself. And if the lane's not open, being able to, we've seen the assist category kind of creep up a little bit lately as well. She's drawing in some of these double defenders, which could hinder some of her real points, we'll say, but it's going to increase our free throw trips to the line, or at least the chance that she can draw a free throw. And with Indiana being number 1 in the league in turnovers and fouls per game, I mean, this is just a smash spot for us. I can guarantee you that that free throw prop's going to change before we get off the stream.
I'm with you on that, and we predicted yesterday all of our favorite props getting juiced. on stream, and then we got off stream, and sure enough, they got
Yeah.
juiced. So I think, especially with these low props that we're gonna talk about today and highlight, definitely get them in as early as possible. I know sometimes you want to sit on cards and try to build the absolute perfect one, but sometimes you just got to get it in and not sit on one card too long. Totally with you on that. It's probably my favorite prop on this entire game matchup here.
It's
And
my
then
top play for the day, just to be totally honest.
I totally understand. And then, man, if there was ever a bounce back spot for Vandersloot and Emma, this is it, right? And especially if you're under the assumption that Candace plays less minutes, less effort on the back-to-back, they have just been not getting it done. I don't know, it's just lack of energy, motivation, but they're just falling short and really not filling the stat line like they normally do. Although we know that Emma tends to thrive the most when Candace is out, so I feel like they're the slot machine that's just been missing. It's like when someone's just been pulling on the slot machine and they finally get up and someone else hops on, and then first pull they hit.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just, I don't know. It's too risky, in my opinion. Not only do you're taking a risk at if it's going to hit today, but you also have to choose between the two. I mean, maybe both get clear, but with Copper, like you said, taking on more of a dominant role, and then always Candace there to take over, and then Quigley's on a heater now lately. It makes me nervous. So I would probably just stay away. I get it though if you want to hit that slot machine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the more likely candidate tonight's probably going to be Emma. Just if we're going on the theory that Parker's going to be somewhat limited here, and we know, as I mentioned, with the turnovers and fouls for Indy here, Emma, she can definitely rack up the stocks. And we saw it in I believe the first game she had 2 and just kind of played low minutes there. But in the second game, she ended up, I believe, with 4 and had a pretty stellar fantasy score. And just kind of with all those things being said, I wouldn't classify it like a top tier play for us, but definitely a solid middle tier. And you have to think, just not even 2 weeks ago, her props were 10 points higher than they were right now. We were well in the mid 30s almost.
Yeah, especially that stretch that Candace missed. The stretch of games, it was like 3 or 4, right, that she was out. So Emma definitely popped off then. Yeah, her fantasy is probably the most ideal because of that stock upside. I'm with you on that. And yeah, I mean, Indy's rolling out a bunch of rookies with Nalissa and Emily, more turnover prone, and let's see what happens to Victoria. Okay, I'll put that as like a mid tier. And then wanted to finish on Quigley and Azura real quick. Any leans on them? Do you think Quigley's heater continues?
She's definitely primed for it. For the most part, she's been, I would say, steady but underperforming for quite some time. And we've seen mostly for Copper's emergence, but some of Vandersloot as well. I think personally something's wrong with Vandersloot. In the last 3 games, she's only taking 4, 4, and 5 shot attempts for the entire game. I don't know if maybe there's an injury that they're not bringing up right now because we're getting ready for this kind of extended break here, and they're hoping to just continue that limited fashion here. I think for me personally, if you're going to go with Vandersloot, targeting her 5.5 assists would probably be the way to go. If I'm not mistaken, she had 7 assists in the 2 meetings prior, and she's one of the league probably top 5, top 10 in the assist category anyway. So if she's going to be limited, which I think she is, or she's going to kind of take a backseat to some of these players here, and Rebecca Gardner wanted to give her a shout out too. She's played extremely well off the
Yeah.
bench.
Yep.
And between Gardner and Stevens coming off the bench and playing, I wouldn't say lights out, but pretty close to it in a lot of these matchups, the offense has been pretty chill about pushing some of these more veteran starters here. It's just kind of if they get hot, they get hot, and if not, then this bench unit has really stepped in to fill in the gaps.
I agree. And then I guess to close out, If you wanted any first half props because of potential blowout, I mean, it is a 9-point spread. And like I said, Chicago's 5-0 after a loss this season. I guess Emma would be of interest, and then maybe Azura. She tends to get decent run in the first half, and I really like her matchup. Any other first half props that you would feel comfortable going with in prevention of blowout?
Yeah, you could take a shot on, say, Emma's fantasy for the stock upside. I think Quigley, her real points has been somewhat of a gold mine, especially more recently with her taking a lot more 3-point attempts.
Mm-hmm.
But they did juice it since this last one. It was at 5.5, and under 6 was kind of like perfect for her. But I think you could go with Emma's fantasy there or Azura. Her real points, I love that for the first half because she's gonna shoot a couple of threes, and she might even get to the free throw line a couple of times here with this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I had her 9.5 points written down, but maybe that's the way to go. I also considered her rebound, but worry about if it's not a full game run.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the full game, I really liked her PRA. It's just way too low for her.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'll put that as secondary. All right. Well, I didn't want to, not much to go over on this game. Didn't want to go too much in depth on this one because I wanted to get into the other games. Yeah, both these teams are top 2 in points allowed in the paint, so makes me like Azura even more. And same with Emma and Courtney. They tend to rack up points in the paint as well. And then, yeah, with that said, we can just hop on to Indiana's side. I think, Chicago, they've been exploitable in the paint, and we know that Nalissa is going to attack the paint. So I think her prop lines are pretty low. I know the crew was talking about her 19.5 PRA. She did really well in one of these matchups earlier this season. She had a really solid game. This game. But I think this is the game that Candace was out. But yeah, she played 35 minutes, 11 rebounds, 26 points. But the game that Candace was in, Melissa did not play that game. That's right. She had an ankle injury. So good spot for her again today. If you think this game is going to stay closer and Indiana's going to put a good fight up at home, I would probably trust her the most on Indiana's side. And I guess it's wait and see with Victoria, and that's going to change a lot of things. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, starting lineup and the just before lock injury news is going to play a huge thing for Indiana here. We're always pretty confident in the 2 players between Alyssa and Kelsey Mitchell. So things, if we get a full game here, Melissa's definitely set up for, I would say, a ceiling performance even for us. But biggest thing's been minutes on the floor due to foul trouble. So if she's going to be squaring off against a lot of Parker here, and we see Parker kind of closer to a full run, this could be a really, really tough game for her. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt with Indiana being at home and Chicago basically on a back-to-back here, that they could have a little bit more spunk and really wear them out.
Yeah, that's true. And then did you like any Emily props? She had a pretty solid outing for her first start recently. I know we talked about her points or rebounds earlier today, but do you have any particular lean on either one?
I think for Emily, if we're going to go back there, we got to go back to the first half props. She hit our real points for us. I believe it was at like 2.5 or 3 or something low, but they have it back to 3 again, and I think that's totally in play. She opened up with a 3-pointer, so
yeah, she hit that 3. Yep.
I definitely don't mind that, but I have no honest idea what happened in the second half. She just completely ghosted us and mostly burned us on the rebounding prop. So I don't know if I don't know if I want to go back there today, but I think that first half real points is definitely in play.
I'm with you on that. The rebounding makes me nervous. Yeah, the only thing is like Chicago gives up the least amount of threes per game. Something to keep in mind if you're considering any Kelsey props too. Okay.
Yeah, I mean Kelsey's Kelsey. She can go out and drop 20 real points
Yeah.
any given night, especially at home.
All right. Anything else we'll just move on and catch up with chat? I never like to spend that much time on Indiana.
Yeah, we'll catch up with this in Discord if we get further news.
Yeah. I guess if you want to take a stab at a 0.53 point made in the first 6 minutes, but like I said, Chicago's the best at limiting threes, and them in Seattle, I feel like, so risky.
I like it if Lexi Hull is going to be in. If she's confirmed out, then I definitely don't want any of that.
Yeah, Victoria playing would help too because she's a 3-point sharpshooter.
Mm-hmm.
We will head on over to the 2 late night games. So this game has an early lock, which kind of stinks. So yeah, this one's the normal 7 p.m. Eastern, and then you have the 2 late games starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, 10:30. So large time gap there. But let's catch up a chat. Lorenza, hey, what's up, Lorenza? Corey said another day, another dollar. Let's go. What up, Corey? Jake said good slate tonight, but for the All-Star weekend, let's get after it. Appreciate you, gentlemen. Hey, Jake, like the positive vibes. Appreciate you, man. Skimmer said your last slate before break. Let's go. Yes, sir. Jatoa, what's up, man? What's up, fam? Let's get this green tonight. Yeah, let's finish strong. Let's underrated. Hey, what's up, man? Let's get it. Hit the likes. Yeah, appreciate that. Mike, you weren't first today, man. Disappointed. Mike said, Stewie unders on fantasy or Pierre. Any thoughts? I never like going under on Stewie. It's kind of like the same way I never like to go under on Jokic. Those kind of players, man. But if you got a gut feel, go for it. Or unless you think for any reason the game will blow out. But yeah. He said, sorry, I'm late. No worries. Glad you're here. Hey, what up, Vince? Part of the crew. OB, hey, what's up, OB? Over 1 3-pointer in 6 minute starter Chicago. Can look at that. Yeah, I mean, if Quigley comes out on fire and Parker hits a 3-2, I think he has a good chance to push too, if you have a good feel on it. All right, let's roll to the next one. So we have New York at Phoenix, 163.5 total. This will be stream free on Facebook if you want to watch it. I think it should be a good game. New York obviously played last night, and yeah, they're coming off a back-to-back. Sabrina played huge minutes and put out a huge performance. A lot of effort she put out there. Triple-dub, 31 real points, I think. And she tied Tarasi's 3-point made in a single game record this season. Tarasi was the sole leader at 7 made threes this season. Sabrina hit 7 last night. And you got the up-and-coming superstar, pretty similar to Tarasi's game style, and the old 40-year-old vet and Tarasi. Those two going at it. It's kind of like the passing of the torch when you saw Jordan and Kobe. With that said, I think it's going to be interesting dynamics and matchup between the two. So really excited to watch that matchup and see how it goes. I think there's going to be a lot of threes to go around in this game. Both teams lead the league in 3-point attempts. New York is first, Phoenix is third. So it could turn to a 3-point shooting contest. But yeah, I think New York being on a back-to-back, but they're playing so well as of late. And Phoenix is kind of trending the opposite direction. They have scored, I think, less than 80 points 2 or 3 times in a row. So they're definitely due for a bounce back offensive game. And this could be it. At home, 3 days rest, going against a team that just came off a huge win, upset against Las Vegas on the road. And they're going to continue this road voyage to Phoenix. So we'll see. I mean, New York has some young players in Natasha and Sabrina, so maybe they can keep the hot streak going. But man, I just don't see Sabrina shooting lights out like that again. Back-to-back nights, she was at one point she was like 5 of 5 from 3. But I probably, man, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna stay away, to be honest, from all of the New York props because I don't know what to expect from them tonight after that huge win. Definitely due for some regression here. I feel like they just shot lights out as a team. They scored the most points they scored all season. What was it, like over 110 points they scored?
Yeah, that was wild.
It's just, I know it's Phoenix. They're definitely exploitable on defense. You can attack them, but I just feel like everything's setting up for a regression to the mean game here for New York. And just being on this road voyage and probably just looking ahead to All-Star break starting tomorrow. So I would probably fade everything except the one that we like the most would be Sabrina's rebound at 8.5. Just due to the fact that Phoenix takes so many threes and Sabrina gets a lot of her rebounds from missed threes and long rebounds. So I think the 8.5 is still too low. She's just been crushing the glass. I suspect that this will go up to 9 before lock. And hopefully it's still at 8.5. It's still at 8.5. Yeah, she's killing the glass, man. Absolutely killing it. But the thing is rebounding is all about effort and energy. Hopefully she still has some legs under her after last night. Putting up a triple dub, it's got to wear you out. But she's a young player. So curious to see what you think on New York.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Sabrina and her rebound. I personally don't think that they'll adjust it one more time since she opened at 8 yesterday before locks, and obviously she smashed that. And we got her at 8.5 today, so I think that they'll let this one ride. But if she hits again, we'll definitely see a hefty bump up to 9. If not, honestly, she could even jump to 9.5 depending on how many she gets tonight.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I thought it would open at 9 because you got Phoenix, who's dead last in rebound percentage. A lot of that's due to they have Brianna Turner starting at the 5 and they're just taking so many threes. So it just leads to less rebound opportunity offensively too. I mean, it just sets up perfect for Sabrina rebounding here. Everything, this whole game environment.
Oh, no doubt. And for her, I think you could still consider her 3 points made. They didn't adjust it from last night, but it's still at 2.5. And with Phoenix being bottom in the league for defensive against that, we could see, dueling 3 balls going back and forth between her and Taurasi here.
I agree. That's kind of what I'm envisioning. Do you like Natasha today?
I like some of her props still. She's been consistent with the 4 turnovers. I think you could still go back there while it's under 4 right now. But
they did a slight bump to 3.5 after this.
Yeah. 4. So maybe you could go back there one more time, and with the pace up spot here, it's not a bad or reasonable play. I think her free throws still definitely something that could be in play between Diamond, Sky, and some of the secondary pieces from Phoenix here. They foul a little bit, and she's been really efficient at the line. And I think it's safe for us at 3 right now, but definitely in play, kind of factoring all those things in.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's taken on the role of being aggressive, attacking the rim, because, like I said yesterday, New York is almost dead last in attacking the rim and drawing fouls. They're not getting it done in the paint or near the rim and drawing fouls. So I think she's kind of taking on that role and trying to carry that load because the majority of the points for New York is coming from the perimeter. So I get it if you want to do the 3 free throws or even the turnovers. I think so. I added a stat here. this is opponent turnover percentage. So this is how many turnovers the defense causes, and Phoenix is about average. They're sixth in opponent turnover percentage, so middle of the road. But Natasha, a lot of her turnovers are just boneheaded mistakes of offensive charges or traveling or throwing it out of bounds, so not requiring any steals or blocks. Okay, I will mark that as secondary. And then I think other people were interested in Marine's assist. I noticed that she had this massive assist spike yesterday because, like I said, New York shot lights out. Like Hanzu shot 10 to 10 at one point. She was 10 to 10 from the field. It was like a record for New York, franchise record. I mean, a lot of those assists came from Marine, and the Marine, a lot of her other assists went to Sabrina's 5 of 5 3-point shooting. Are you concerned about the regression to the mean in shooting and not getting it done just due to maybe a little bit less efficient shooting tonight?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But for the most part, I could say the assist being at 4 is still in play for us. Not a top tier play, but with a comfortable push, I think that in this matchup, getting a pace up here, they're going to have to. Well, let me back up real fast. They've been really efficient in distributing the ball lately, and that's one thing I've really noticed with their shot selection has been really fantastic. And a lot of that's coming from that additional pass that they're seeing out of the starters here in particular. But a lot of that's coming from Johannes in particular because she's just super efficient with the ball. You know, we were on her turnovers last night and she had 8 assists and 1 turnover way late in the game. And for me, that was a huge surprise because I honestly wasn't giving her the benefit of the doubt, being able to really have a lot of ball control. But her coming back into the starting unit here, she's looked fantastic. And being able to really free up Sabrina on the opposite side, their shot selection across the board is looked really good. And the fact that they were down by, I think, 12 points at one point last night and then ended up coming back to win by almost 10 points, that's crazy. And just a really good second effort out of the team.
Yeah, they shot lights out. It was crazy. Okay, and then I think other pieces. It seemed like PrizePicks didn't know what to do with Sammy and Dangerfield, so they just gave us 7 New York players instead of our usual 6 that you get for each team. And I think it's just because New York has just been trying different things, and you can see Dangerfield ended up playing 8 minutes and never checked in the second half, and they ended up giving Didi more run. They gave Onoriri more run, and then Sammy played less than her normal 20 minutes. I read reports that she's been in a walking boot when she's not on the court dealing with some foot injury. She recently rested a game, and it was due to that ankle injury. I would be concerned about her on a back-to-back, especially for her minutes if she actually plays.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to shore up our Johannes minutes too. So if you liked her assist prop, and we're assuming that they're probably going to limit some players here, or at least Sammy, I like that as well.
Yeah.
And they gave us a flat 13.5 PRA for both Han and Stephanie. So I think honestly both can get there, but take your poison, take your pick.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we move on?
No, I'm going to step away for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. Dive into Phoenix. I think there's a lot to like here. Okay. I think back to my game theory here. I think Taurasi being the vet, before she passes the torch to Sabrina, I think she's going to try to show out, especially since Sabrina tied her 3-point record last night. And Taurasi already takes so many threes. She's averaging over 8 3-point attempts per game and around 2.7 made per game. And she shoots a lot better at home from the 3-point line. So I really like her 2.5 threes in this game environment, especially if New York's going to be chucking threes. And if they're making them again, Phoenix is going to have to answer with 3-point shooting. It's one of my favorites tonight, the good old Deanna. And then great spot for Skylar, especially her fantasy. I know it's high, but one thing I'm concerned about here is all this negativity surrounding her, trade rumors, and I just don't know what to make of it. It could be a good thing. It could drive her, or it could put her in a bad hole mentally, and just I don't know what to expect from her. So that fantasy is really high, but man, it is a good spot for her. So I would say her fantasy or her real points I would target, and then Diamond. I also like her fantasy and probably her free throw prop. She's going to attack the basket, and we saw Asia when she attacked the basket last night. New York was just hacking her like crazy. She had like 10 plus free throws made. So those are other tough ones. I'll probably put Diamond. She's so good at getting it to the free throw line. And Shaq Zhu and Natasha, they do foul a lot. New York is second in turnover percentage. So they are turning over the second highest rate. So a lot of stocks to go around, which is good for fantasy for Skylar and Diamond if you want to target their fantasy. One of the things, they have Skylar at 3 turnovers. I think if you are under the same kind of game script we went over yesterday with Kelsey Plum being at home and going against New York, who is almost second to last in causing turnovers. If you wanted to go under on Skylar's 3 assists, that would make sense too. But she does have spike turnover games. I think she's coming off a pretty high turnover game recently, so maybe she's more cautious of it today, especially being at home.
All right. Sorry
Yeah,
about
she's
that.
coming off back-to-back 6-6-6. So definitely room for improvement, and it's New York. They just don't force turnovers. So I forgot to mention that. So I'll probably put that one.
Yeah, and you guys were finding some gold mines with these under props.
We'll see. This depends on how much playmaking Skylar tries to do. Hopefully Deanna picks it up in Petty and not making Skylar try to force passes, because she does have spike turnover games. But I was just saying how little New York forces turnovers. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really like it. If she's not playing overly aggressive and we see her just kind of have a steady game here, I think that should be a fairly easy prop for us. I'm hoping she's going to do less, assists and trying to dish it out and just drive to the rack a little more. I'd rather her, risk the offensive turnovers than just these silly passes that happen sometimes. But it feels like a pretty comfortable play for us here, and getting a pace down on the other side should help some of that too.
Yeah, I agree. And what are your thoughts on? So I talked about, I don't know how much you heard, but while you're gone, I talked about Tarasi being one of my favorite props at 2.5 threes. Talked about Diamond's free throw and her fantasy, and then I haven't covered Petty. Do you have a lean on Petty?
Yeah, for Petty, I think we should probably get off the assist train for a little bit. I know some folks were on it late this last time, and she had I think 3 or 4, something pretty underwhelming. But one of her gold mines, and I'll say Sophie Cunningham as well, but their first half fantasy score has just been hitting like crazy. And I think for her, she just does enough or she's well-rounded enough that she's fallen into a handful of stocks here, but I wouldn't bank on just the assists. We've seen her have some spike shooting games as well, so
Right.
probably I want a piece of all of that in either some form of the first half or full game prop here. And New York is fairly high for turnovers, so she could pick up a couple extra stocks here.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like the idea of fantasy for a lot of Phoenix players with that mindset of New York turning it over. I'll mark that on the list. So I'll put Petty's 12 fantasy first half, and you said Sophie.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it easier. So
And I guess just reasons why Petty, she kind of does it all for the team, and Sophie, she just plays such hefty minutes in the first half, and with the 3-point upside that we could get from her today, it's, I think, pretty reasonable spot again to go back.
Yep. Okay. Anything else you want to cover for Phoenix?
No, I think that's about, you could probably still consider Sky her free throws made as well, but I think honestly all of the Phoenix players, you could kind of put them on a list for that tonight.
Yeah.
No, that's gonna be about it.
Okay. We'll head to the late night hammer before we do catch up with chat. Sheriff said, "How many free throw props are too many? Stewie, Copper, Diamond look good." I don't think you have to worry about prop variation or diversity when you're dealing with different teams. It's just like worrying about correlation within a team. I think I know sometimes, with the gambler mindset, you can get in your your own head about like, oh man, I have too many stock props in one, or too many props, a particular prop in one card, and it can get you off of like plays that you really like. So I know it's hard, but try not to think about it that way. If you feel really good about a prop, go with it.
Oh, for sure. And if, your process led you to that point, trust your process, you got there for that reason.
Exactly. Skimmer said, liking the Diamond 3.5 free throws over. Yeah, she's so aggressive attacking the basket, for sure. And like we mentioned, Shaq Zoo and Natasha and Dolson will pick up fouls in the paint. Io said, hey, what's up, Io? Ben said, where's the chat at today? Oh man, they're probably just missing the bots. Okay. Let's go to the last game. It's gonna be at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Pretty much the same play total, around 162. Seattle is on the road visiting, traveling to LA, playing the Sparks. This will be aired also free, but it'll be on Twitter if you want to watch it. I know it's pretty late for you East Coasters, but yeah, it'll be on Twitter. These two teams have also played twice this season, and a little bit different matchup today, though. The Sparks are really thin as of late. They have Tolliver, who's out. They have Sykes, who's out. And they both played in the most recent matchup. And they won that game, too, in Seattle. So, yeah, we have to take this with a grain of salt, these most recent data, game logs. But I think first thing that stood up to me was start with Seattle, the visiting team, would be Jules' 3.5 assists. Because as you mentioned earlier in the stream, Sue Bird did not travel with the team. She's not going to play. So I temporarily, the projected starting lineup, I have January in, and traditionally throughout the season, she's stepped in the starting role when Sue's been out, because Sue has missed quite a bit of games this season. And I just think Jewel with Sue being out, there's so many assists to go around, and it should increase the assist rate for a lot of players, like even Gabby and January. And I think Jewel will get a bump in assists too. I thought it was going to open at 4, but it opened at 3.5. So I really like that. Hopefully it doesn't get bumped to 4 because she's usually been sitting around 4 for her assist prop over the last, I don't know, week or two. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. And then we made, obviously, Bree the cover girl. Really great spot for her again today. I would probably lean her points. I know it's high, but she dominated 28 points in the first matchup. And then what does she have? In the second most recent matchup, she had 28. So 28, 28. Pretty consistent there. Yeah, I just think the way that it seems like the Sparks have played Jewel, they really have given her a hard time. Just under the game theory that assumption that Jewel's going to have to dish it out more and Bree's going to have to carry the load again here. So, yeah, want to know what your thoughts are on those, and then let us know your game script theory for Ezzy and your favorite prop for her, because I think she's been a popular discussion in the group.
Absolutely. Definitely agree with you on Jewel. She's been kind of whenever Sue's been out, Jewel has been honestly one of our go-tos for that assist prop. And like you said, really surprised that they opened it at 3.5. And this one, we've seen her prop move the half point whenever news has been dropped later. They've had news all day for this, so I'm a little surprised that it did open at that. But with this being a later lock, you can guarantee that's going to get bumped to 4 probably within the next 3 hours, I would say. Just depends on how much the field's talking about it, but I would imagine there's going to be a fair amount of chatter. Just with Bird being out, that's going to be the narrative for a lot of folks. So I love it at 3.5. It's a lot more risky at 4, I think, because we could see her close with exactly 4. But Bird, she's been averaging almost 6 assists for the season, so that's a huge gap to fill in for a lot of these players, especially on the road. I wouldn't put it past probably having 2 to 3 players with 3 assists, and then Lloyd getting about 4 to 5 here. The Sparks have had a pretty good defense, in particular against her, but some of those pieces aren't going to be here on the opposing side for the Sparks for this matchup. In particular, Sykes, I think she gives her a lot of problems on the defensive side there. I like a lot from Seattle, but with the team traveling, there could be a little bit of risk here. And is Stewart going to be playing in the All-Star weekend as well? Do you know?
I imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have like 100% confirmation. I mean, I assume she's on the All-Star. No, she's the captain of one of the teams.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So she could see some kind of limited fashion here, but with her productivity is just insane, and we see it spike even more so whenever Bird's out here for the team. I think for her, there's a handful of props that I really like. You mentioned the real points there. I was kind of 1A, 1B with real points, and then I think free throws has got to be a second close favorite here. We know that Liz likes to foul, and Chanae off of the bench, who comes in for Liz directly. Both of them two really foul prone, and even Nneka, Nneka, her on the opposing side, she's been a little handsy too. Not quite so bad at home, but I still like the risk enough to go there. And we've seen Bree just hitting 4 to 5 free throws almost every single game now for about a month. So it's right in line with her production, and getting a little bit of a pace up spot here from the Sparks. I like that going in our favor.
Yeah. She's very good at getting to the free throw line. One of the best. Joel Embiid like. So that's always in play.
And extremely efficient, like does not miss.
Yeah.
I would have loved it to open at 4, but I think 4.5 is still good. She'll probably end up with 6 to 7 tonight.
Yeah. Probably a few more shot attempts for her too with Sue out. Sue accounts for about 6 to 9 field goal attempts, a handful of 3-point attempts too. So I get it if you want to do your 3-point prop too. With Sue being out, maybe it's a little more threes for Bree. But
yeah, she's been right on the line for that.
Yeah, Sparks are giving up the second most threes too. So she was 2 of 6 in the first matchup and 4 of 7 in the most recent. Sue was 2 of 6. I think it just all depends on how Jules shooting. If she's having a typical off night, like she can have, she's very streaky. It's always a huge boost to Bree.
Most definitely. And then just to kind of hit on Ezzy here at the end.
Yeah.
She's being set up in a prime spot again here. I know that with Tina Charles coming to the team, it's kind of muddied up some of the rotations, but honestly, Seattle seems to be able to really work their starting 5 plus her off the bench into the unit. And a lot of these starters, they're still playing about 30 plus minutes a night. And I think honestly, especially with Bird being out, we keep hammering on that, but she was playing, about 30 minutes a night too. So with all of that being said, they're assuming Ezzy doesn't get into foul trouble in the first half again, but they'll probably lean to a pretty hefty, sizable front court. I don't think that Seattle is going to try to go small, mostly just because of the pieces coming off of the bench aren't that energetic. They do have some, spark to them, but a lot of these players are fairly veteran, and there's not too many young players that are going to be coming in to, really keep the pace up that this game's going to be at.
Yeah, she kept her hands to herself in both matchups. I think she had like 1 or 2 fouls in both games. Well, she had 3 in the first matchup, and then she had 5 in the most recent one. But she still played 30 minutes. Although
yeah, and that one we're looking at right here, she picked up, if I'm not mistaken, the final 3 fouls down the stretch of the fourth quarter. Trying to keep the game close. And that I do remember because she had back-to-back like super late quarter fouls, if I'm not mistaken.
She had 1 foul in the fourth, and then
Might have been the other game, but she's, as long as she's staying on the floor and with the minutes gap we'll have from Bird being out tonight, she should be locked into playing at least 30 to 32 minutes here.
I hope so. You don't think with Tina being in the mix that because Tina was not part of the team in either of these matchups?
If Bird was in, I would probably still have more concern, but I could just see the coach sticking to mostly with Lloyd, Bird, Stewie, Ezzy, and then having, say, like Charles +1 off the bench and just keep those as the focal. Because if they're going to sub anybody out, I think they'll limit probably Brianna Stewart over anybody since she's guaranteed to be playing in this game. And I believe Charles might be like a backup or a sub in the All-Star game, but not like a priority role. So she could get a little bit extra or extended run there, but I feel super safe about any of the secondary pieces and anybody not playing in the All-Star.
All right, should we just move on to Sparks, or do you want to give a shout out to Gabby, any of her props? I wish we got an assist prop for her, obviously, because she can have spike assist games, especially with Sue out, but I'm not going to get that.
Not too much love. They finally adjusted her real point prop. I think it's all the way up to 8 now, or like 8.5.
Okay. All right, we can move on to Sparks. They're really thin. They're running a super small, tight rotation with Tolliver and Sykes out. If you look at the most recent game, which went down to the wire, look at this rotation. I mean, it's so tight. You got huge minutes for the starters, and then really only one bench player who's playing over 10 minutes, and that's Chini, Neka's sister. So, I mean, if the game stays close within that 5-point spread, you should expect huge minutes again from the starters. And yeah, I mean, Katie and Canada and Lexi, yeah, they're going to play huge minutes for sure. And Nneka, if she can stay out of foul trouble. The one that stood out to me right away, one of my favorites of the day would be Nneka's turnovers. I think it's going to get juiced to 2 today by lock, especially since it's a late game. In both matchups, and with Sykes out, she's going to take on even more ball handling, which can lead to more turnovers. But with Sykes playing the most recent matchup, she had 4 turnovers. And then the first matchup, I believe she had 3.
Yeah.
She had 3. If she and if she's going to play huge minutes because of how thin they are, turnovers is just naturally going to come. So one of my favorite locks of the day.
Yeah, that was my second favorite next to Copper.
Yeah.
Just being in the same spot we were for last night when we were pretty heavy on Parker, her 1.5. It's the exact same matchup, except I would say probably even worse because of Ezzy Stewart. Now we've seen the emergence of Lloyd also getting a ton of stocks a game. And, Tina Charles, she can get a couple stocks just from her size alone here and there, but that's a lot from the, starting 5 that she's going to have to contend with. And not only the minutes, the reasonable pace of play that we're going to have here, but as you mentioned, with Sykes not being out, we've seen that directly impact her assist rating, but her shot volume. So she's going to be taking at least another 4 to 6 additional shots a game. With that being said, you could definitely consider her real points. Been kind of right there on the line for us the last couple of weeks, but with this kind of tougher matchup, I don't know if I want to go so much in the Sparks' favor. I will give her a little bit of the benefit that she's had a better home road split for her turnovers, but doing some digging and kind of correlating with, what we were talking about with Plum yesterday and her turnovers going the under, why we like that so much. I would say about half of the home teams that they played this year so far are bottom 5 or bottom 3 in created turnovers. Well, Seattle ain't like that. We are number one. We are number 1 in turnovers, and just being such a low bar, 2 or needing 2 for clearing a prop is insane. And 100% agree. I think that the field's going to get savvy to that, and we'll almost assuredly see that change to 2 today.
Yeah, just like we saw with Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I for those who can't get a card in time and it gets bumped, I still think you can consider it at 2. In my opinion, it would have a very, very high chance of pushing at least, but I think she finishes with at least 3 tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 to 4.
Yeah, with everything you went over and explained. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Katie and Lexi. They've really been stepping up with their shooting, and really been a big part of this nice little streak that the Sparks have been on, playing much better as of late. Lexi's shooting, I saw a stat, over 60% since she's been the starting role from 3. She's shooting lights out from 3. I wish it was obviously 1.5, but it has a good chance to push. I think she's going to continue to chuck it from 3, especially with how hot she's been shooting. And then Katie's a 3-point sharpshooter too, and she's has at least made 1 3 over the last, I don't know, crazy amount of games. Interesting fact, her fiance is going to be playing tonight and starting for the Magic in the Summer League. Kennedy for the Magic point guard. So little fun fact there. They're going to be playing probably around the same time. Do you have any leans on them? Their props for their points or 3-point props? And then I guess we can finish with Liz. Big Liz.
Yeah, I think for Katie, probably her either real points or the 3-point prop. We've seen her definitely take a back seat for some of the rebounding opportunity here, mostly just with more involvement from Liz up front here. New coaching direction has really pushed her out for minutes here, and wouldn't be surprised to see her have a fairly extended run here. But with the Sparks being so shorthanded, they have to have these players. And for Katie, I think going well for her is going to be her size and physicality for the matchup, and having the upside of being able to shoot the 3 ball for the team and help with scoring. But Lexi's got to be one of my favorite plays today. I think we go right back to her fantasy
Yeah.
score. Just
How many minutes to
ridiculous.
play, right?
Yeah, ridiculous amount of minutes.
Yeah.
And if you guys missed last game too, she almost got ruled out and was going to ruin a lot of our nights. She took an elbow to the face and went to the locker room, got cleaned up, came back out, and just shot the lights out. Hit back-to-back threes. I believe she had 2 stocks before the half break there, and just really getting it done on both sides of the ball. So for her, I loved her, not only her first half fantasy score, but just a full game fantasy.
Yeah.
The minutes we're getting is just going to be absurd, and even if at 0.75, 0.8 fantasy score a minute, like that's well over our 20 marker.
Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. Love both those props, the fantasy and the 3-point. Just should play 35 minutes if nothing crazy happens. So yeah, I think that her props and NECA's 1.5 turnovers, probably, and along with Jules' assists, probably my favorite from this game. Is there anything you want to touch on with Liz, or are you just gonna fade her?
I think if you're going Liz, it's got to be real points. That's the only prop that hasn't been properly adjusted. All of her lines have been increased by over 30 to 40%. So the points have, I think it's been about 4 or 5 games since we've had the prop back to that 12 line, but they way overcorrected and dropped her all the way, I believe, down to 8.5 was the lowest she got to. And we're seeing it creep back up here. She gets a few extra trips to their free throw line. Maybe not so much here in this matchup, but at home we've seen that kind of as an overall thing here. And with this new coaching staff really pushing her in the minutes, she could get played off the floor from Ezzy like last time. I think Ezzy ended up with 3 or 4 stocks on just Cambridge alone, so she ended up being a huge liability. And if they have the personnel, they could go small ball here, but I don't think that the Sparks are really going to have an option for that tonight. The next best play, I would say, if we got Chene off of the bench, any of her props, those would be super appealing for us tonight. But I don't think we're going to get those, honestly.
Probably not. And maybe if you're building a late card, that'd be something to look out for.
Yeah. And then you could give a small shout out to, was it Canada's assists?
Oh, right.
Yeah, but they bumped it from 4.5 too, so it's at an even 5. It's kind of on that line for me now. I loved it at 3.5 or at 4.5. Not so much now at 5.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I think we got a solid core here, and I'm feeling really good about our team stream card. Let's build 2 of them, and I will close out with 3 of my favorite summer league plays, so we can get to our rank list building and card construction for lock. Before we do the team card, let's see. Let's catch up on chat real quick. Cowboy said, "Where's the bots been?" And Emerson, what's up, Cowboy? Cowboy, I got a question. Are you gonna be dancing with Dirty Diana tonight with those threes? Oh, Mike said, worked well last night. So y'all got a favorite 2-pick power? Oh yeah, I remember this from yesterday. I think we basically spoke into existence just a minute ago. 1.5 turnovers for NECA, and then the copper 2 free throw made, right?
Yeah, the copper free throw, I'll have that in 100% of my cards tonight.
And then the NECA 1.5 turnovers we both really liked. I think that's a solid 2-pick power. So good luck, Mike. Io said Jewel Lloyd at 4 assists on Super Draft. Yeah, it's
gonna happen.
It's gonna go soon on PrizePicks. People bringing up Copper's free throws. Yep. Gabby Williams over 4.5 rebounds. Maybe. I mean, her minutes sometimes are all over the place, but I did not look into that.
I'll look into that real quick. if
Yeah.
you want to go into another question,
Yeah.
I'll have an answer for you guys.
Yeah, man. Vince said, yeah, man, Indiana fouls the most in the league and should rely a little more on Copper if can't limit at all, for sure.
Yeah, I think you could consider Gabby. Just looking at her home road splits here for the home game, she was already at 4.5, but for the away, it's got a fat bump to 5.9. Just minutes, I think, being on the floor only concern for you, but on paper it looks good.
Patel said, trying to find something to pair with Copper over 2 free throws. Like we said, probably Nneka's 1.5 turnovers. Skimmer said, please pick 2 or 3. Gabby fantasy points, Lexi fantasy points, or Diamond free throws over. I'm going to vote Lexi fantasy point and Diamond free throws. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, those two. Definitely Lexi. Lexi hands down from all three of them, but Diamond, I think, yeah, just the turnovers and fouls from Indiana is crazy, or from New York.
Yeah. All right, I'm feeling good about today. After breaking everything down earlier today and doing the stream now together. So let's get right into the stream card.
I think I started it off yesterday.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, start it up.
Feel like this deja vu of yesterday. Nneka is this Cheyenne Parker of today.
All right, so we'll stick with that game. We'll go with Lloyd's 3.5 assists.
So many good props today.
Are we counting the Copper free throws, or is that just a given?
Yeah. That's like a given. And then I'm gonna say either Sabrina's rebound or Tarasi's threes. What were you gonna go with next?
Either those two, or I had two other ones, but actually, let's go with both of those on this card because they give. I really like the correlation. I meant to hit on that earlier with us behind the scenes, kind of really liking Tarasi's 3-point prop today. That means that they're gonna be chucking a lot of them, and probably a handful of them are missing. So she's gonna fall into a ton of rebounds today.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually have this exact card already fired up.
Let's go. Okay. Let's do one more then. We can keep the core 2 if you want.
Let's go one without Nneka, just on the off chance that she holds true to her home road split.
Okay. So it's your turn.
Let's go with Ezzy and her fantasy score.
Okay.
I think this game is definitely our late night honeypot.
I agree. And I'm gonna go on the opposite side. I'm gonna go with Lexi's fantasy. I always like Lexi. Man, earlier in the season when we used to get her off the bench, the good old days when we would get those low line props, like the 2.5, 3.5 rebounds.
Yeah.
I would just smash her rebound every time. She would just crush it. She gets it done on the glass, shooting. Okay.
All right, so back to me. Let's see. Let's go with I think we got to go with Emma and her fantasy score.
Back to the slot machine.
I think it's a get right day for her.
The perfect spot for it.
She's up a little bit. Right there in the bottom right.
Yeah. The red trips me up. All right. So you can run this as a 4, and then we can add a 5th.
Yeah. Do you have a lean for a last play?
Let's get one that we both really like that we don't have any exposure to. We can do diamonds, free throws.
Yeah, I like that.
Or we don't have any Bree exposure, but we have Ezzy in this, don't we? I mean, it's okay. They can still Ezzy. A lot of times she can put up 5 real points and then get 6 stocks and still clear a fantasy,
Yeah.
which I think she did in this matchup here.
Yeah, one of them she had like 6 stocks, I think.
Let's see. This matchup, 9 points, but she had 5 stocks, and I think she finished with like 34 fantasy or something like that. 11 rebounds.
Yeah. Yeah, and the two matchups for the season, she finished with 37 and 36 points, or 34 points, or fantasy score. Sorry.
Yeah, she's gone way over 30 in both matchups, right?
You go the full game points.
I think so.
And honestly, a lot of these picks I think are definitely interchangeable. You know, if you don't feel comfortable with, say, Ezzy or Emma for this one, you could go to, say, like Azra points or Brianna points. A lot of easy 1A, 1B plays for us today.
Yeah. Let's do the free throws. I like the exposure here. We have someone from each team pretty much, except 2 Chicago. There you go. And like Eric said, you can interchange that. All right, quick thing on Summer League. We'll get out of here real quick. Yeah, we're on pace. We wanted to get done at 15, so I'm not going to go over the first game because it already started. And then you have Memphis at Utah. I did not like anything there. This is the game. We're back to Rockets, man. Our favorite prop team. This Summer League team is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be really good. And they're just going to, typical Rocket way, push the pace with Christopher Knicks. Love Christopher. They opened him at 13.5 points, and then they kept bumping him up, and now he's at 15.5. This guy, he attacks the basket. He chucks it from 3. He's a ball hog, absolute ball hog. So I would go with his points. Love it. And Jabari, we have the matchup. In this matchup, we have the number 1 pick versus number 3 pick. Jabari versus Banchero. So it should be fun to watch. It should be a great matchup. They're both at 16.5 points. I think Jabari probably has the best shot of clearing it. But he has to worry about ball hogs like Christopher and Knicks. And then, their other rookie, Ty. I think he's on the board, but I think he comes off the bench because Knicks is their dude. Like, he plays in the regular season. I think they want to keep getting him seasoned in Summer League and let Ty come off the bench. And then they have Aaron Gordon, who is the brother of Eric Gordon, one of the longest tenured Rockets players ever. So he should be fun to watch. We probably won't get a prop for him. But yeah, I'd probably say Christopher I like the most, and then Jabari for his points. And then on the Magic side, RJ Hampton actually volunteered himself to play the Summer League. The team didn't even have him planned to play, and he was like, I want to play. I want to get better. Because he's a third-year player now, and he's right there on the fringe of not staying in the league. So a lot on the line for him. He said he wants to really work on his ball handling and playmaking. His shooting is really poor, though. His pull-up shot is less than 30%. He averaged less than 8 points during the regular season. But he's a huge guard. He's 6'6". I think he can rack up boards, and if he really works on his passing here and gets Banchero involved and the other rookie, Houston, and then he has Kennedy, who I mentioned earlier. He's a 3-point sharpshooter. I think he can rack up some assists and rebounds. So I'm probably going to lean his PRA. And then the late game, you're gonna have to wait on lineups. It's so late in the day, so I'd wait on that. I have no idea what Detroit's gonna do. Cades and Bay are on the summer league roster, but I doubt they play. And then I don't know if Saban Lee starts or Killian Hayes, or they could just play equal minutes. But I do like Livers. He's a 3-point shooter who chucks it whenever he gets the ball. He doesn't look to pass. He's just a spot shooter. So if he gets hot from 3, he can clear this 11.5 points. Killian makes me nervous. It makes me real nervous. I know the lines are low, but I just don't know about the minutes. We don't know who's playing. So don't enter a card without knowing the lineup. So I'm going to say my top play would be Christopher Points. I know they juiced it, but this dude, absolute ball hog. And he gets free reign now with KPJ and Jalen Green on the other 2 ball hogs not playing. And then PRA, go with Hampton. And then I think you can consider throwing in Jabari points if you wanted to, and then Livers points if you want to do a 4-pick. Yeah, that's what I got. I'll take a screenshot of that. But yeah, definitely keep out for lineup news. I'm pretty confident on the Orlando lineups, starting lineup, and the Magic. Or I mean the Orlando and the Rockets. But the late game, I'm not confident on what the lineup's gonna be. So I think you can get in early cards on the Rockets and Magic. It should be a great game. All right, guys. Take any last questions? Bots are back. Yes. All right. Eric, you got anything else? Oh, yeah. Check out, let's give a shout out to your YouTube channel. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over at Eric's Prop Stop. Got a video up for today as well.
Definitely check it out. His channel's growing. Love to see it. So well worth it, all the grind and hard work put in. Yeah, I guess we have a 7-game NBA slate tomorrow. Maybe do a short 30-minute hour stream for that. But otherwise, back on Tuesday. Yeah, good luck, everyone. I hope you guys crush it.
For sure. Good luck, everyone.
See you guys.
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact? You can thank the master. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it goes strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with how it plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Eric and Josh on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all never time. You can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasizing and Sasha Cloud. Gabby Williams said, watch your mouth. They 1 and they 2, I played the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them in, we cashing them. Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. You watching Contact? You can thank the master. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
You watching Contact?
Let's get hunting.
You can thank the master. About to go big.